Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberkaş. Talks of a post-war Gaza are already underway, with Türkiye pledging to help with reconstruction when the fighting stops. Over the weekend, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said Ankara is ready to rebuild infrastructure, hospitals and schools destroyed by Israel's bombardment. Türkiye, which has also offered to play a guarantor role in a post-conflict Gaza, also recently took in dozens of Palestinian patients in desperate need of medical care. On Tuesday, President Erdogan arrived in Algiers, where he met his Algerian counterpart, Abdelmadjid Tebboune. The two leaders discussed the latest situation in Gaza, with both calling for more humanitarian aid and international support. Israel, which launched its incursion into Gaza on October 7th in response to an attack by Hamas, says the group cannot return to power once the conflict ends. U.S. President Joe Biden has proposed reviving the Palestinian Authority to fill any political void. Israel's bombardment of Gaza is now in its 7th week and has killed more than 13,000 people, mostly women and children. And for more on the latest from Gaza, joining me now from Paris is Abdelmadjid Tebboune. He is a North Africa expert at Orsam, a think tank specializing on the MENA region. And from Istanbul, Mehmet Çelik, he is the editorial coordinator at Daily Sabah. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. So, Abdelmadjid, Israel's bombardment of Gaza, now its 7th week. How dire has the humanitarian situation become, and what do you think the Gazans need the most?
First of all, we are raising the banner question. How many more children have to die? To stop this. But unfortunately, it's not going to stop tomorrow because of the lack of the international community and also the persistence of Israel, to deny all the international humanitarian law and so on. And so when we speak about the humanitarian aid for the Palestinians in Gaza who have been going through this scorched policy and atrocities for more than 45 days, so, one has to remember, the Palestinians have been going through occupation and disconnection of their lands and also apartheid for the last 7 decades. And also the Gaza Strip itself has been going for blockade for 17 years. So now when we ask this question, raise the question of the humanitarian aid. Gaza, is not, it is deeply in a profound crisis by all means. Humanitarian and infrastructures due to the harsh policies of the occupation and the acculturation process that have been going on, as I said, for decades. So now what we need, the international community, and notably the UN, has to step up and just, when we speak about the UN, it's the Security Council, has to be brave and challenge the impunity of Israel that have been taking advantage of this for decades now.
So, Mehmet, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan arrived in Algeria today to hold talks with his Algerian counterpart Tebboune. How important it has been for the president to use his overseas visits, especially to fellow Muslim countries, to call out on what's been happening in Gaza?
Indeed, Turkiye has been one of the very key and very active countries that has been carrying out a huge diplomatic effort to bring a ceasefire or to find a solution to the ongoing atrocities carried out by Israel against the Palestinian population in Gaza. Last week he was in Germany. It was a planned visit, but Gaza's situation was at the very center of the meeting between President Erdogan and Mr. Scholz during the press conference. And now President Erdogan is in Algeria. Indeed, Algeria is one of the key countries in the region, and it has very firm stance when it comes to the Palestine issue. And it's a very clear stance also. And Algeria also has a very influential position in the region. Mm-hmm. So President Erdogan's visit Arab countries or others is in fact due to this very core problem in the Muslim world.
Yes.
And that has been in post-Arab world, post-Arab Spring revolutions. Unfortunately, there is a void of leadership in the Arab world at the moment. And Turkiye remains as the sole actor and sole influential actor when it comes to speaking about the Gaza situation or Palestinian struggle as a whole, or when it becomes the only country that seeks to take action in this regard.
Yes.
So President Erdogan's visits are crucially important, and Algeria visit is particularly important because of Algeria's position on the situation and also its influence in the region as well.
So, Abdener, what do you make of the Turkish president's visit to Algeria? I mean, what's been the mood like in Algeria and overall in North Africa against Israel's attacks on Gaza?
It is indeed. It's a very, very important visit, and it comes in these moments where the Palestinians are slaughtered. And as Mr. Mohammed stated, Algeria's role on the Palestinian cause is very, very strong. And actually, both leaders, the Algerian leaders and the Turkish leaders, have solid and bold stance on when it comes to the Palestinians' rights and also suffering. So, and the sentiment in Algeria, it is like Turkey. Actually, I was in Turkey just a couple of days ago, and I had the same feeling that how Turkish people are galvanizing and also speaking out about the suffering and the atrocities that have been committed by the Israelis. So that in Algeria now, when it comes to the leadership point, I mean, both leaders are, they winning in the Islamic conference. And we saw that the joint summit of Arab and Islamic summit a couple days ago in Riyadh. Unfortunately, it didn't go well, but actually, and on the unilateral level, Turkey has showed its full support.
Yes.
And so that in Nigeria, so both leaders, I mean, now they can form a kind of an access to speak up. And I will add Qatar into this, and this will, and why not Iran? Actually, will be very interesting to again break through this impasse and the impunity of the Israelis, as you stated, as you comes to your first question about the humanitarian aid. At least will break through and have, these aids that are waiting
Yes.
to enter to Gaza. So both leaders have to say on this, and they can do something.
So, Mehmet, you've just briefly mentioned that Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan doubled down his criticism against Israel during a joint press conference with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz over the weekend. So are Turkey's calls for an end to hostilities falling on deaf ears? And is Ankara's leverage on the conflict limited?
Well, I mean, it is one thing to make all these calls, and it's another to actually see them translate into some policy changes by the supporters of Israel. Now, on the one side, countries like Türkiye, and as you know, there will be this action. There is this action group formed now, and Mr. Hakan Fidan, the foreign minister of Türkiye, is part of that action group that will be in European capitals seeking that ceasefire and that seeking to make these condemnations translate into some sort of action against Israel. But these, unfortunately, stay very limited due to the strong support and unconditional support to this point by the United States and the European countries. Now, there is a huge ground up demand for a ceasefire, and people are protesting against the atrocities by Israel across European capitals, in the United States, across other parts of the world, if this put pressure on countries like the United States, and if the Israeli atrocities cost actually become a burden, or if the key officials in Washington see that this will actually isolate Israel more in the region, or it will turn Israeli actions into a burden on their shoulders, we may see a slight position change. But to this point, we don't see that yet. So European capitals or the United States so far has not called for a ceasefire, and their position has not moved from a mere condemnation or call for,
Yes.
let's minimize the civilian casualties. But they haven't actually proved a solid ground against all the violations of international humanitarian war or crimes against humanity.
Yes. So, Abdelnour, are the U.S. and its allies miscalculating or being unrealistic about who will govern Gaza after this war is over?
Actually, it goes in the state of denial that has been going on for quite time now from the Western leaders. And again, I mean, we are already speaking about the aftermath of the ongoing Al-Aqsa flood battle. So we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, because so far, I mean, the main objective of the Israeli army didn't reach. And so I think it's too early to speak about this scenario. And as you know, the resistance in Palestine has shown its strength. And actually, now, I mean, we get the population with it. Now, all the Palestinians are behind the resistance. So another narrative that, I mean, needs to be looked at, because the Western narrative is as if Israel is in war with Hamas, which is not with Hamas, is with this war going on with all the Palestinians, and this is due to an occupation and a territory and an apartheid policies.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.